Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sam Chavaria. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm with FAJ Action Fund, and we are welcoming everyone all to this space today and would like to greet you all a happy Filipino American History Month. We are here today to support Attorney General candidate Rob Bonta and hear from various community members and leaders from local organizations from Northern and Southern California about why it is important to elect leaders like Attorney General Bonta. We will start off with a land acknowledgement given by Daisy Maction.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Daisy Maction, she, her, hers pronouns with FAJ Action Fund. And for the land acknowledgement, we want to note that our virtual community recognizes that the land we are on sits on ancestral and unceded land of Indigenous people. These lands were and continue to be of great importance to Indigenous people. We recognize that every member of this virtual community has and continues to benefit the use and occupation of this land. Consistent with our values of community and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make visible our relationship to Native peoples. By offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous sovereignty and will work to hold ourselves, community folks, and beyond more accountable to the needs of American Indian and Indigenous peoples. Thank you, and I will be handing it off to Sam.
Thank you so much, Daisy. To kick off, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, FAJ Action Fund Board Treasurer and former Executive Director of Filipino Advocates for Justice, Lillian Galedo.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to participate in this historic event, something I hoped that FAJ might one day be able to do. For some reason, the Attorney General has always been one of those public offices that I had a hard time grasping. It's only in this hyper polarized political environment of the last 8 to 10 years that I've come to appreciate that the AG is the people's lawyer charged with protecting and expanding the public's civil and other rights through the California Department of Justice. This is particularly important in light of right-wing efforts to roll back what was in my lifetime settled law, like our voting rights and the right to choose. We need an AG bold enough to take powerful public positions to protect our right to vote, a woman's right to determine the fate of her own body and health, access to affordable health care for all, the freedom to go about our daily lives without the fear of falling victim to gun violence or racial hatred, to protect and expand the rights of workers, particularly low-wage workers, and of course, much, much, much more. I believe California Attorney General Rob Bonta, someone I've known since he was a toddler, has been that person for the past year as our incumbent AG, and I know he will continue to be the people's lawyer and advocate as our full-term AG. I have worked personally with Rob on issues that improve the lives of historically marginalized populations like tenants, senior citizens, and workers, whether they are organized into unions or unorganized. We have worked side by side for rent control and to advocate for and win California state legislation for access to overtime and other worker protections for domestic workers. Under his leadership, his office has actively sought to break up human trafficking rings that have long delivered domestic workers into exploitive, slave-like working conditions, among other crimes. Coming from a farm worker family, I have admired his commitment to farm workers, from raising wages to improving their working conditions and protecting their right to organize. He recently supported legislation to enable farm workers to vote by mail for a union. He has played a leadership role on all these fronts since his earlier days as an elected official and continued this commitment through his first year as AG. As an Asian senior citizen, I am particularly concerned about anti-Asian hate. I worked in Oakland's Chinatown for more than 35 years, and I want to continue to feel safe in Chinatown or at my neighborhood grocery store or the mall or even in front of my own house. Basically, I want to feel safe everywhere and enjoy my retirement. Rob has made it a priority of his to end anti Asian violence. In the past year, he worked with partners to create a racial justice bureau and an office of community awareness, response, and engagement. He has guided law enforcement, prosecutors, and members of the public to strengthen responses to hate crime. And Rob has advocated for resources for communities like ours to build an infrastructure for fighting and preventing anti Asian hate. In the current election cycle, democracy itself is on the line across the country by a coordinated attack in many states on our right to vote. While voting rights in California may have not experienced a similar attack, an injury to one is a threat of injury to all, and we should all be actively engaged in pushing back against this effort to go backwards in time when voting was restricted for vast sectors of the population. In order to ensure the right to vote, that the right to vote is protected nationally, we must elect an AG who will work collaboratively with a national network of other progressive AGs to defend and expand the enfranchisement of all, ensuring that it is safe and easy for all citizens to exercise our constitutional right to vote. For California, that Attorney General is Rob Bonta. Keep Rob as our California State Attorney General. Vote for him November 8th. Thank you very much.
Yay. Thank you so much, Lillian, for your wise words. As mentioned in her speech, safety is a common thread that is within the issues that are happening in California, and it's proven through Rob Bonta's track record that he has consistently been an advocate for the community and safety as well. Thank you again, Lillian, for your words. Up next, we have Christina Quezon, who is a middle school teacher for Alameda County Unified School District.
Good morning, everyone, mga kababayan. My name is Christina Quezon, mother of two children in their 20s, leader in my faith community. I have taught elementary and middle school students with special needs, second language learners, and have provided academic strategies for more than 25 years. In 2006, I left my 5- and 6-year-old sons to pursue better opportunities here in the United States. My teaching credentials from the Philippines needed continuing studies to fulfill the teaching credential requirements and to align to California state credentialing equivalency. For that, I had to go through school again to get accredited. While alone in Fernland, redoing my schooling, teaching, and needed to supplement the income to sustain myself and my family back home in the Philippines. And so I worked as a caregiver of the elderly for a year. I know my story is common amongst the overseas Filipino workers community, sacrificing to be away from my family in exchange for better opportunities. Every day when I go to school, I see in the eyes of my students, the eyes of my sons. When I go to church, I'm reminded of the horrible shootings in buildings of worship. With the uptick of gun shootings in schools, I feel worried for the mental health and well-being of my students, for my sons' well-being, as they both can be at school or in public when someone decides to open fire. And also for the mental health and well-being of my beloved church friends. Access to guns now more than ever needs to be tightened, and guns possessors held accountable. A balance between gun rights, access to guns, and human rights is what we need. We need an attorney general that is for the people, who can hold the balance. And that is why I believe in Attorney General Bonta, who deserves to serve a full term as the people's Attorney General. Attorney General Robert Andres Bonta understands the plight of immigrant women like myself. As her mom, Cynthia Bonta is also an immigrant woman. Thank you to Filipino Advocates for Justice Action Fund for being receptive to the needs of the Filipino and Asian community. We and the future generations need to be empowered to know our place in history, that we stand up and fight back for what is just for safer schools with guns restrictions, women's rights to choose, and end in anti-Asian violence. Let's get out Filipino and Asian vote. Let's get out the immigrant vote. Let's get out women's vote. Let's get out people of faith's votes. Not just for us, but for the generations to come. Mabuhay!
Thank you so much, Christina, for sharing. We cannot emphasize enough how important teachers are in the community, as well as immigrants in our community. And Attorney General Bonta is fighting to ensure that every Californian knows their rights and is treated with dignity regardless of their immigration status. Up next, we have Aki Soriano Versosa from Filipino Action Center.
Hello, thank you. Yes, I'm Aquilina Soriano Versosa with Filipino Action Center, which is a C4 sister organization of the Filipino Worker Center. And we're here today together with my brothers and sisters here from the Filipino and Asian American community, really excited to endorse and support the candidacy of Rob Bonta for Attorney General. As a member of the Assembly, we and I personally have seen him putting into action his value of worker rights, of lifting up worker and immigrant dignity. Even back in 2013, he supported the passage of the California Domestic Worker Bill of Rights that ended 75 years of exclusion for domestic workers from overtime protections. He supported making that protection permanent. And he also supported building out resources for the domestic worker education and outreach project that could help both workers and employers start to really implement laws so that both workers could have dignity in their work sites, and which would help them to provide better quality services for the families that they were supporting, that they are supporting. And supporting while he was still in the Assembly, supporting domestic workers to the push for domestic workers to also have health and occupational safety on the job, to end that exclusion as well. In the Attorney General's office, since he moved positions, he has continued to bring his values, especially of protecting and lifting up worker rights and immigrant rights, especially of those who are very exploited. And we have seen him partnering with community organizations to focus on criminalizing wage theft and to really go after especially bad employers who are basing their models, especially home care agencies, who are basing their business models on wage theft, on paying workers less than minimum wage with no overtime, no rest breaks, but themselves benefiting and profiting. Um, and and so this has been an important partnership in trying to see how the rights in law that he was able to pass become a reality on the ground. And so we really value the experience that he's brought, his own background of carrying those values with him as he is in a position to be a decision maker, to be a leader in the state. And that is why Filipino Action Center has endorsed Rob Bonta to continue to be the leadership that we are so proud to see here in California as Attorney General. And we encourage everyone, as the other speaker said, to get out and vote. And it's so amazing that he also really lifts, it's a value of the Filipino community as well, to really bring that integrity, because as workers' rights and immigrants' rights, these are very basic rights for basic dignity for all of our communities to be able to live and prosper and have real opportunities in California. And so we are really excited and are encouraging everyone to support the leadership of Rob Bonta. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aki. We appreciate it. And the importance of domestic workers, they cannot be undermined, which is why Attorney General candidate Rob Bonta has prioritized bringing cases against employers who abuse workers, steal their wages, and create unfair and unsafe working conditions. Next, we have a California domestic worker organizer and Sacramento resident, Santi Buensuqueso.
Good morning, everyone. I guess what I have to say is generally echoing what the other speakers have said before me. But what I really would like to emphasize is that Rob Bonta is going up against a millionaire and Republican-backed candidate, Nathan Hawk. And Rob Bonta has been the most progressive California AG we have ever seen. And to have him go against a very rich Republican candidate is really it's a move by the GOP to advance on any progressive solutions that Rob Bonta has instituted during his term. And we have seen him address the root of gun violence, fight for domestic workers' rights. And so to have Nathan Hochman claim the seat is going back to the days when there was no gun control policies. And we will probably see further intimidation towards our immigrant community. Therefore, we can not understate the fact that we need Rob Bonta as AG if we want to be able to control gun violence, if we see the value in having someone who will fight for the rights of our domestic workers, and if we want to see someone who will fight for immigrant rights, I can only reiterate what has been said. Please, let us allow Rob Bonta to stay in his position and not allow the GOP to advance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Santi. And as mentioned, yes, addressing the root causes by providing tangible solutions to it is something that Rob Bonta has been consistently doing with his track record in comparison to his opponent. And up next, I would love to introduce Cha Vang, Deputy Director from API Force.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cha Vang, Deputy Director of Politics and Partnership with Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders for Civic Empowerment. API Force is a 501c4 organization that builds progressive political power through ongoing, culturally competent, integrated voter engagement strategies, providing training, coaching, and strategic planning for AAPI organizations throughout the state, and working in coalition with other communities of color to shape the state's political agenda and build a powerful, progressive political infrastructure in California. Our network is composed of 501c4 AAPI organizations across the state, which coordinate on political campaigns and issues. We are excited to be a part of this morning's press conference with two of our organizations, Filipino Advocates for Justice Action Fund and Filipino Action Center, to endorse the re-election of Rob Bonta for California Attorney General. Rob Bonta has proven to be a devoted leader who cares and fights for the people of California, both during his time as Assembly member and currently as our Attorney General. Immediately after his appointment to Attorney General, Rob Bonta established the Office of Community Awareness, Response, and Engagement as his way to engage and listen to the needs of the people. For many years, the Attorney General position and office has been a place where community members can only hope to build relationships and connect with. Through CARE, Rob Bonta has shown his commitment to the people and the much needed work to rebuild trusting relationship. He is the leader we need at this critical moment when our basic rights are being threatened every day. So join us in re-electing Rob Bonta for California Attorney General. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cha. And yes, to reiterate too, it is so important to have a leader that centers the people's voices and the communities that are impacted by the policies that are being implemented. And overall, I just would love to thank everyone who came today to hear our community speak on the importance of what safety looks like for us and what dignity looks like for us, and why we stand by a leader who provides tangible solutions for issues such as gun violence, protecting healthcare and reproductive freedom, and domestic worker rights statewide. Rob Bonta is a leader who is going to stand up for our community. FAJ Action Fund, Filipino Action Center, and API Force are confident in Rob Bonta's ability to represent the people of California and proudly endorses him for Attorney General this upcoming November. And thank you all again today. Have a great rest of your day and happy Filipino American History Month.